Wow, another year. 2021's in the books, and time to take a look at our total energy use. We're an all electric home. We only use electricity. We have no natural gas or any other energy source. It's just electricity. So last year in 2021, we averaged $199 was our average power bill each month. And that includes now charging both cars. And that's our air conditioning and our heating. So it's very reasonable. We are on a time of use plan with Duke Energy, and Duke estimate that we save $22.65 per month by being on time of use instead of flat rate. And that's because we're able to charge the cars off peak. Basically, we spent $6.20 per day, and we averaged just over 2,074 kilowatt hours per month last year. And if you notice, we use 68 kilowatt hours average per month
Per
on
day.
no, it's actually per month uh, uh, for peak, 126 kilowatt hours per month for shoulder, and 1,740 kilowatt hours off peak. That's the lion's share. And Saturday and Sundays are off peak. So basically, we do all our laundry and anything uses a lot of electricity, like charging the cars. Where we always make sure we do it off peak. Now, if you noticed, back to the average kilowatts per day, this year we used, as I said, 68, which is slightly more than 62 last year. And that's because in 2020 with the pandemic, we really didn't drive much. We stopped driving Ruby every day, basically in March. So there was only a couple, three normal months as far as driving Ruby to and from Raleigh to take Johnny to school. But in the case of uh, this year, we've been driving a little bit more. Marianne's been driving ever since last, what was it, August? Or we've been going. So,
Yeah.
so basically, there are more months. So we averaged a little bit more daily kilowatt hours. But if you go back and look at 2018, which was a full year of going to and from uh, Raleigh every day, we averaged 81, and then it was 76 in 2019. So we're expecting 2022 to get back into that territory, but it's gonna slowly ramp up now. Hopefully, we enjoy driving electric cars. Marianne loves driving Ruby. It takes all the monotony out of that daily commute to and from Raleigh. With me working from home and with the pandemic, we just don't get to I don't drive Jules that much. Last year, we drove a total of just over 5,400 miles approximately. And we basically averaged only 450 miles per month on average for Jules. That uh, total amount of energy all last year for Jules was 1,629 kilowatt hours for the entire year, and that averages out to 136 kilowatt hours per uh, per month. So last year was similar story for Ruby for the first part of the year, from January through well into the summer. It was just a few hundred miles per month. The average for Jules was just excuse me, average for Ruby was just over 1,100 miles per month. We drove again just over 13,000 miles in the entire year, and the average kilowatt hours was 552 kilowatt hours per month, and that we used a total of 6,621 kilowatt hours for the whole year. But you could see that starting in August, September, October, and so forth, we really shot up the amount of miles and the obviously the amount of kilowatt hours used to charge Ruby, and that's because Marion was driving Johnny to school each day. So back in October of 2014, I replaced our all electric water heater, resistance water heater, with a hybrid heat pump water heater. Basically, it has a heat pump to heat the water, and it also has a backup resistive heating element. And I replaced the energy meter somewhere along the line in 2015. So I don't actually have some of that older data, but basically this chart shows the energy use for by the hot water heater from 2016 all the way through 2021. So we've got 5 years of hot water heater data here, energy use. And again, as I said earlier, that we're all electric home. So our water is heated by electricity. Of course, it is the heat pump. So we do get more heat, more hot water for the same amount of energy over the resistance hot water heater. But if you notice back in 2017, there were a couple spikes. In 2018, there was a spike. And those were basically in the winter months. I had the water heater in hybrid mode where whenever it ran out of hot water, it would turn on the resistive heating element and would recover very quickly because of the resistive heat. The heat pump, when it uses the compressor, very slow to recover, but it uses more energy, obviously, with the resistive heating element. But somewhere, I guess it was in 2018, I decided to go to 100% uh, heat pump mode. So it has a mode where it only uses the compressor. It will not turn on the heating element. And so you could see in 18, 19, 20, 21 that we've had the higher energy use in the wintertime, approximately 140 to 150 kilowatt hours per month to heat hot water or heat the water. And then in the summertime, it's much less. It's 70 to 80 kilowatt hours per month to heat the water. So we basically use twice as much energy to heat the water in the winter as we do in the summer, and that's mostly because the water coming into the house is so much colder. In the wintertime, it has to heat the water from 45 degrees up to, let's say, 120, whereas in the summer, the water comes in at like 75 degrees and it only has to heat it up to 120. So raising the temperature of the water makes a big difference in the amount of energy needed. I also track the amount of energy used by our whole house dehumidifier. We live in the southeastern part of the United States, and air conditioning and humidity control are a big deal here. We don't have nice dry air most of the year. Basically, starting in May and easily going through October, we'll basically have very humid days. And our house is in the woods, and so we get a lot of shade, so we don't have a lot of solar gain. So our air conditioner doesn't run maybe quite as much as somebody who lives out in an open area and doesn't have a lot of trees shading their house. So humidity is an issue with our home, or it was an issue until back in 2015. I installed a whole house dehumidifier. But it is surprising. It does use quite a bit of energy. As you can see in the winter months, it almost is zero. Even up through May last year, we used 38 kilowatt hours for the entire month of May. But as you can see, starting in June, we went up to 119. July was over 200, and we basically August, September, we were right up very close to 290 kilowatt hours just for the dehumidifying. And then, of course, it fell off starting in October and November. And then, of course, in December, it drops quite a bit because, the air does dry out in the wintertime here. But uh, as you can see, we use the dehumidifier. More energy is used for dehumidification of the air in our home than is actually used for heating water. So, in case you were wondering how much we actually spend to heat and cool our home each month, we average just a little over 300 kilowatt hours per month to heat and cool our home last year. I don't actually have a energy meter on the heat pump, but I do have uh, hour meters. In other words, I do have the number of hours that the heat pump runs. And then I know that stage one uses approximately 1.5 kilowatt hours, and then stage two uses an additional 800 uh, watt hours. And so I can calculate um, how many kilowatt hours it is based by how much it runs, how many hours the heat pump runs. And last year, um, uh, it basically ran something on the order of just over like 2,600 hours last year, and that averaged out to basically be 304 kilowatt hours per month.
Share some data with you from 2021. All of the information I'm going to share is going to come out of TeslaFi, the third-party tool that we use to keep track of a lot of numbers that have to do with the cars. And we have two accounts over there. That's the way it works. One for Jules, which I'm logged into right now, and one for Ruby. And I'm going to go through the stuff for Jules, and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do the same stuff for Ruby. I went back and forth on how to do it this year, and I have screenshots of all of these. But in order for them to be big enough for you to really see it well up in the video, the live screen capture here just really seemed to be the right resolution and to make things as easily viewable as possible. So what we're looking at right here is a monthly calendar for the entire 2021 year for Jules. And up here on the left, it shows 785 drives, 5,413 miles, 170 charges. Almost all of them are home charges, a couple of exceptions. And then it shows you a graph by month here, and it's miles per month, which you've seen in some of the stuff already that Don showed. And then over here, it's showing you miles, but it's showing you in the 52 weeks. So I don't know. I think that's a really nice snapshot view there that TeslaFi is showing. If we come over here to drive and we go in to look at the drive summary, it shows us the top 10 most frequented destinations, and then of course I can scroll the pages and it will show additional places we were. But it's no surprise that Jules is frequently at the environmental park, Don waiting for me at Walmart, Don waiting for me at Whole Foods, the Greenway where we've been walking, South Park, and then this is a lifetime chart here. So it also includes things like the track, Home Depot, Guardian Angel thrift, because we weren't at the track a lot this year, but we have been at the track 22 times. So I just always find that that's interesting. You're going to see a lot of commonality between the places Jules is and the places Ruby is. And then there's some that are different. Especially for Ruby, who's at St. Augustine's University a lot, and that was going to be way far down on the list for Jules, although Jules has been up there a couple of times. So back over to drive, and temperature efficiency is always a fun chart. I'm just going to go ahead and leave this as the lifetime. I could limit it to just 2021 if I wanted to. I don't think we'd see a lot of difference. When it's nice outside, the efficiency goes up, and when it's cold, the efficiency goes down. Hotter, you still say, the efficiency at 90 to 95 for joules is still um, um, well, it's only 88.4%, but at 85 to 90 degrees out is 93.9%. So, um, like I said, this is ugh, how really messing this chart up. When it's nice outside, your efficiency is good. That's mostly what I'm trying to share. And then also is showing you what miles you drove at the most at the what temperature. And I don't know that that matters for much. All that's really telling you is that it's pretty warm most of the year here in North Carolina. We only have a few days or a few miles we drive during the year where it's a little bit colder. But 65, let's see, our most efficient was from 75 to 80 degrees. I think you're going to see that that's a little bit different. Actually, maybe here 97 from 80 to 85. So Jules likes it hot. I think Ruby's is, if we'll go look, is slid down more in the 65 to 75 degree range somewhere. So we'll try to come back. Speed efficiency. This is a chart that I hadn't seen before. But Jules is most efficient, 99.3 at 40 to 45 mile an hour. So, you've heard before that if you're short on range, you need to slow down. You'll be more efficient. It'll help you make it to the supercharger. And that's really all this chart is trying to say is when you're up here at 70 to 75, 75 to 80, which of course wasn't much. Even 80 to 85, we're down to 60.5% efficiency. So the faster you go, the less efficient your electric car is going to be. And that's all stuff that you guys have heard before. And here's some real world data that proves that out. Let's see what else we want to do. The odometer graph is interesting. I don't remember this being here before, but Jules has been pretty consistent about how much she's driving per month, and a steady little climb here, but still only at 11,064 miles. Ruby's looks a little bit different, and we'll talk about that when that comes up. Lifetime map. This is one of my favorite things. Although I would have to say for 2021, this map didn't probably change a super lot for Jules, because this trip here out to Cape Girardeau was in 2020, not 2021. Here, where we went up to the track down to check out. This was probably new to check out the supercharger over by Jacksonville. Morrow Mountain was a trip down here that we did make in 2021, and we checked out the Siler City supercharger. So it's still nice to see all the places for us, that we went to. Ruby's is not as widespread, but is a lot of intensity here close to home as well. And let's see what else. Charges. If we go to the charge summary, it talks about AC and it talks about DC or supercharging. And 246 times Jules has charged at home. Because of COVID, Don was not charging daily and only charging up to like 50% or something, a totally different charging scenario than what we do with Ruby, especially when I'm on the road. But you can see here that we did charge at a couple other places. This Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue in Newton Grove destination charger was one that we stopped at in 2021. That was new, but still really super heavy. I mean, on the 257 charges at 7 locations, and 246 of them were at home. So when we tell people we almost always charge at home, that's the truth. And here's a supercharging. We've done 29 supercharges in Jules's lifetime at 20 different locations. And you'll see that the one in Greensboro there at that Sheets is the one Jules has been to the most when we've been traveling around. But we try to hit lots of new superchargers. And on the weekend, we're usually driving Jules. So that means Jules hits them. So She's been to Goldsboro and Mebane and Henderson and Smithfield and Knoxville, Raleigh, Wallace, Cary, Rocky Mount, Greensboro, and there is a page 2 that's got to be Siler City. Is it going to go to Siler City for me? It did not seem to when I clicked on 2. I'm a little confused there as to why that did that. Maybe we can just show the total 25 entries and it'll switch it to us there. Yeah, because these are all of the rest of the chargers Don was at when he went to Cape Girardeau. But I did expect to see Siler City in here somewhere. Is it it's possible I didn't correctly tag it, and that's why it's not showing up. It's probably an untagged location. I'll go in and fix that. But still, 29 charges at 20 locations. So still, when you're looking at fractionally the percentage, that's not very many when we've done 246 at home. So under charging, that was really all we were going to do. The software tracker is always interesting. It should make us feel better about, I think I clicked on the wrong number there, fleet. I just want to see software tracker, my software updates. That's the ones I meant to go to. So Jules has had 43 software updates. She gets one an average of every 12 days, even though sometimes it seems like an eternity between software updates. And it's an average of 3 days till it goes out to the fleet until it downloads to Jules. So realistically, anytime that you hear us grumbling about, oh, Jules hasn't had a software update, well, sometimes obviously we're talking an average here, but most of the time they come pretty frequently. And we did go from, what was it, I'm trying to see, days from discovery to install here. That one was really long. Days since previous update here, we were in quite the drought from September till November. But you can also see that there are sometimes that they come. I think what happens is sometimes they put out these dot releases, and like this was 5 days apart, and that really brings down the average. So if we looked at the median, maybe we would see that our perception of it's long is accurate from time to time. So I think that's mostly what I wanted to show you about Jules. I will come in here and actually I wanted to click on this calendar tool. They've made some changes. They are still actively updating this app all the time. I opened a support ticket with the question and the guy answered me today, and it's a weekend and it's New Year's. I really appreciated that he answered me so I could be prepared for tonight's video. It is the first of the month, so this is not, and the first of the year, so this is not too telling. But if we come back here for December, you see that the monthly calendar view does give you a really nice summary of what's going on. It tells you how many times you charged, and you can see the information there. It tells you the locations you were at. So I played Pokemon, and I was at home. Probably this one is Food Lion, this is Whole Foods. You can kind of see what day you were where, Walmart, if you have taken the time to put in a good icon. I was trying to see if there was a Home Depot one, but it's also possible that sometimes the Walmart could be the Home Depot. There was the park symbol, the tree over there. So you can come in here and you can get a very nice summary of each day what you did. So that's cool. All right, I'm going to stop this section and then I'm going to come back and do really improve the way you can switch from one vehicle to another. And I just go up to vehicle and I chose Ruby there, and it took me over to Ruby. We did not drive Ruby today, so there's all these park records, but there's no drive records over here. So if we look at the daily summary, she was just parked. There was no driving. So come over here to the drive summary. We'll just go down them in the same order that I went down them with Jules. And yes, I still have my 99 safety score up here waiting for my camera update so I can get FSD on Ruby. Driven a little over 1,100 miles, trying to, with since the safety score has been kept track of. So I'm ready. I'm ready, Tesla. But here's the top destinations for Ruby, and I was a little surprised that St. Augustine's was not on in the top 10. But really, I guess that makes sense considering the number of years I was taking Johnny to Wake Young Men's Leadership Academy versus over to St. Augustine's. Guardian Angel Fuquay Varina, Taekwondo, I'm certainly at a lot. I don't know why there's two locations there. I'd have to go back and sort of try to analyze why it is probably two different parking locations kind of in the same parking lot. And if I go to the next screen, you will see St. Augustine's University coming in, I guess, at number 15. And quite a few of these being, Pokemon Go stops. I'm surprised that the vet is more often than Home Depot, but maybe not. So anyway, that's kind of interesting. And temperature efficiency. I told you I thought it was just a little bit different for Ruby. Yeah, she's most efficient from 60 to 70, even 75, 80, 85. Those are, but most efficient is right at 65 to 70. So I think it's a little slightly cooler for her and slightly um warmer for Jules, but yeah, I don't know. And again, this is just showing that it's very warm here in North Carolina. We don't have a lot of cold. The number of days that we're below, or hours a year that we're below 40 degrees or below 35 degrees is really small. We only have about 5 days of winter here in Central North Carolina where we don't get back above freezing during the day. And when it's, below freezing at night, we're not normally driving. So you can see where that would really shift this chart over here to the warmer side. And speed efficiency, I'm sure it's going to show the same thing for Ruby. I'm sure Dawn was driving this day over here. But and I don't know why she would have been that efficient. The only thing I can say is that at that speed would have been because we were drafting behind a truck or it was perfect temperature outside. But most of the 25 to 30, she's very efficient. 30 to 35, and there's not a whole lot of difference up here, 45 to 50. So Ruby, also, the slower she goes, in most cases, the more efficient she is. And let's see, what else do we look at? The odometer graph. Yeah, Ruby's looks a little bit different. You can really see the COVID stuff. It's just being a little slow to draw the screen. It's thinking. Hopefully the internet is behaving in the middle of my video, because I see it clicking here, thinking about drawing this page for me. I don't know why it's there. We go. Thank you. So you can really see in you know a little bit of a gap here, January of 20 up till about August of 21. And that was, it was really March through about August, something like that. The miles really went down for COVID, and you can see that. But we're back on this more steadier hill climb now that we're back in school. So I thought that was interesting that it was really flat there for a while. We were not putting on a lot of miles. We're at 93, 15, 80. And if we put on 2,000 miles a month, and that would be January, February, March, April, May, that would be times 5 months. It's possible that we would be close to 100,000 miles right by the end of the school year. Johnny will get out sometime in May. So I will be keeping track of that as we go. And here's Ruby's lifetime map. Now, the miles driven up here on this is the number of miles since we started Tesla Fi. And for Jules, the odometer and the miles driven are only off by 100 or 200 miles because we got Tesla started within 24 hours. We might have missed the very first drive, but we got it. We're trying to start it from the parking lot before we left Tesla because we knew we didn't want to miss any data. And with Ruby, we didn't have Tesla turned on right away, so we don't. It's not the same. That was my question to the Tesla folks today. Why is this not right? And he that was the answer, and I fully understand that if the Tesla is not tracking the car, then it can't keep track of the data. So I get that. But here's Ruby's lifetime map, and it is like I said. I don't know, this is too big and the other way is too a little too small, but you can just barely get everything on the screen here. So, this was the Blue Ridge Parkway Drive, not last year, but the year before, pre-COVID, when we had such a great time. And Donna and I took that trip up to Mount Airy to see the Andy Griffith Museum, and we went up to the Amazon warehouse. But these were all pre-COVID activities because, as you know, we haven't really um, there wasn't a lot of travel going on. Even still, travel is not what it used to be. So we've been up to the track, and we were over to that Farmville to watch the glass stuff, the glass making, and really missed that, but they haven't opened it back up yet. And we did make one trip where we stopped at Tesla down here in Charlotte, kind of drove around that one day, but hopefully, we'll be adding to this map, a little bit more. I'd like to go back over to New Bern. We were over the Tryon Palace. I'd like to do a little bit more exploring for sure. And let's see, what else did we want to look at? The charge summary for Ruby is going to be a very similar scenario to Jules. We've charged 1,339 times at 9 different locations, and that's the AC charging. And 1,313 of them were at home. So again, almost always charging at home. And the superchargers, as Ruby has probably not been to quite as many locations as Jules. 73 charges at 17 locations, but again, that's spread out over 4.5 years. Um, and you can see that the most that one that she frequents is the one by the track, although there's a new one closer to the track now, and North Hills, which is the original Raleigh supercharger, and then Greensboro, followed by Burlington. So, um, we have supercharged a little bit, but still, in compare, not a ton. And let's see what else. Um, I guess I started off with this view with Jules, and I really meant to start off this with Ruby as well, but I'll show it to you now. So 1,556 drives, 13,000 326 miles. Now, this is just for 2021, and 306 charges. And you can see that the miles again at the beginning of the year were very few, and now they have really picked up. Yeah, the holiday and extra days off from St. Augustine's are probably why December is so low. Not really sure why October and November tracked a little less than September and August per se, but I do understand the holiday for December will have missed basically close to half the month. And that makes sense that that month is off. And then again, over here, you're looking at the miles for the 52 weeks out of the year. If we come into the fleet and go to my software tracker, Ruby has had a total of 95 software updates in 4.5 years. And, the thing that I always point out to non-Tesla owners is that those come for free. And yeah, sometimes Tesla fixes stuff they need to fix, but more often, or just as often, I'll argue more often, it's new fun stuff that they just are giving us. So if we grumble about the days between updates, it's we got to keep it in perspective that we are getting these updates for free, extremely convenient because they come in our garage and we can install them, on the Wi-Fi. We can install them when we want to. So not really any room for complaining there, I don't think, although we will all grumble from time to time. So 17 days between updates. So more than one a month, and 4 days from version discovery to install. And it says it's been 2 days since my last update. And again, I'm sure if we come down here and we look, this was every I will not ever call Ruby legacy, but every classic original Model X owner was like, it has been so long. Well, it wasn't our imagination. It was 90 days. That is probably the longest dry spell Ruby has ever had without an update. So it was painfully slow on top of not getting FSD. It was waiting for the other stuff. Yeah, let's see. If we go down here, the previous dry spout, there was 44 days near the end of the year last year. That one was pretty long, and 58 days in the middle of 2020, and 48 days and 45 days here at the beginning of 2020. I kind of remember this one. This one was long enough to be painful as well. So there have been a couple of doozies in there. Here's another 58-day one in the beginning of 19. But for the most part, Ruby has had regular updates. And y'all are probably getting dizzy now with me scrolling the screen, so I'll stop. But we had a lot of updates. And if we come back over here to the calendar view, I really want the calendar view. I'm thinking I'm not seeing what I'm expecting to see necessarily. Yeah, I'm looking for the little car view up here so I can see it, I don't know where that happened to go. I want to just get back to like today's calendar. And I'm having a little trouble doing that. We'll go to month. I really want to go into a particular. Yeah, I know that's not valid. It's because it's the first day. Let me just click on December. I don't know what happened to the little car. It's like it's missing from up here. This is what I was looking for. And again, you can see the nice little monthly summary here, in this case for December. It gives you everything you did on an individual day. So I went to the environmental park. I went to one of my doctors up at Duke. I was home. There were 6 drives that day for 73.29 miles. Estimated cost was $2.39. And it does have in our electrical costs. 405 watt hours per mile. It was 50 degrees that day, so that wasn't particularly efficient. One charge, which was at home. I think you can click on it here and it'll go to the charge record. Added just over about 31 kilowatt hours, and 74 was what put in. Because remember, there's the driving and there's also a little bit of the electrical cost is lost in the efficiency of the actual charging. So I don't know, that's pretty cool. I wanted to go in, probably was a little bit better to do it for Jules. Let me pause here again. So I wanted to share with you one more thing in TeslaFi. By the way, Siler City was in the list of superchargers for Jules. I don't know why, I just couldn't see it. But we do have to come in sometimes and make basically let TeslaFi know if we want to keep track of it, what places are. And I've had a hunt around for a little bit, but I figured Jules had less specified destinations than Ruby did. So I looked on Jules. This is from Friday, December the 10th. This is the day that Dawn met me halfway between the school and home at 6915 Fayetteville Road. I kind of recognized this right away when I went in there, not to mention the fact that it tells me that this was Midway Baptist Church. I frequently stop in here with Ruby, so I think I have it listed as a pogo stop at MBC Church. Midway Baptist Church, and I'm going to come in here and get an icon. And I know they have an icon for church. With Jules, it would not normally be a pogo stop. It would be probably Dawn meeting me halfway. So I'm going to go ahead and submit, and that'll show back up. And then when I return to the previous page, although, yeah, sometimes after making that adjustment there, it really doesn't take me back to the page that I want to sometimes. Maybe I'm clicking the wrong thing, but I think it was, well, look for the church symbol down here because it ought to show up now. Yeah, it was on the 10th, and I did see the church symbol. And if I come back here, you'll see NBC Church instead of this long, funky address. And, pretty regularly as Dawn and I go to new places that aren't in our normal driving range, we'll come in and we'll spend a couple of minutes, like when we say we take a trip to a new supercharger and I want to know how far it was and all these numbers that I'm pulling for the video. We'll just fix this stuff while we're in here, and it's not hard to fix. It's really not. So that day we drove about 25 miles and 42 minutes. Dawn was out up there to the church and back. And, he did actually do a park record, because if you don't do a park, it won't make this entry, and then you won't get these other entries either. So we've also sort of trained ourselves that if we show up somewhere, we want to put the, in our stop, we actually want to go into park and not just sit there and hold or with our foot on the brake pedal, because otherwise we won't get this record and we won't have this show up as that was really our destination for that day. But just a little more behind the scenes, what you can do with TeslaFi. Tux, you're looking mighty cute there this morning. Hi. Good morning.
You know what today is?
Saturday.
Happy New Year, and you know what that means?
It's the first of the month.
That's right. You know what that means? I read my meters.
Okay, and you know what that means?
Yeah, that means you get to... Oh.
You owe me your end reports.
Yeah. Right.
You're going to be making me a spreadsheet this morning. That's what that means.
Just the Happy New Year means I get to make
reports. That's right.
Thank you so much.
There was a pretty good sized tree limb over there by the carport. Don's getting it out of the driveway. Everyone's here this morning and looking good. I've already got Tux moved to his spot, but let me tell you, he runs with the other pack when he's hungry. I was out here though at I don't know, after 11. Him and Stripe were having words. They were both caught in the rain and not where they wanted to be, and let's just say that I got wet and they didn't get hurt. And they got to go where they wanted to go, their normal spot. We had a good torrential pouring rainfall again last night, another inch or two. Yeah, it's 68 out here at 9 a.m. and it's gonna not rain during the day, A says, and stay plenty warm. Get up into the 70s. I'm out here in short sleeves and I am totally comfortable.
I can't open this.
He's putting my New Year's watch band on. I have a Happy New Year's. I should have done it yesterday. Yes, of course.
Thank you so much.
He's working, but he's not working for the man. He's working for the video.
Yeah, the girl, she's wearing me out.
Yeah, he wanted both screens up so he could copy from one screen to the other. On the Chromebook, it just wasn't working for him.
Yeah, it's just very painful to
go back and forth.
Yeah, when you're trying to read one screen and type into the other, because yeah, it is. Two screens is better.
And Don was grumbling that Duke had changed
the website again.
Well, and the bill that comes in the mail and everything, it's all a different format.
Right, and they've made it better for them, which means less useful for the consumer. It's definitely less transparent. You'd hard pressed to figure how much you're paying per day for electricity. You know, and it used to tell you you're paying $7 a day for electricity or something like that. In other words, you get this bill for $300 a month, and you say, oh, 300, that's, well, that's $10 a day. And it's like, holy crap, I'm spending $10 a day for electricity? I mean, think about it. That's, kind of, the 300 a month probably means something, but you kind of get acclimated to the 300 a month.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, of course, ours includes both cars, so.
Right, and I'm back driving normal driving and charging versus COVID. But there's some definite stuff in my numbers that show the COVID dip.
Right.
Yeah. Because I wasn't back on the road until August. The whole first half of the year I wasn't driving much.
Right. That's right.
As sort of, you can clearly see Ruby's.
Yeah.
There's a Tesla Fi now has an odometer graph of your miles climbing, and you can see where it goes flat during COVID, and then it starts to spike back up after post-COVID. So, I've got that to include in my stuff. But
right.
Yeah.
Way cool.
I'm just here talking to her through the door, trying to get her used to my voice. I still definitely get the feeling if I went out the door, she would just run. Nighttime was talking to her too, the jealous thing that she is. Well, we've got our charts ready to go for today's video. We'll do the voiceovers talking about them later when we're comfy on the couch. We are headed just over to the environmental park for our normal walk. We debated a bike ride, but it's gotten quite gusty from time to time to be out on the bike, I think, and still a little wet on those potentially slick wooden boardwalks.
We're gonna try to install this. I got my new gizmo.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take the old one out. Take this old thing out. Take this out, that out, this out. I guess we plug it. This has got a voltmeter on it. Got a lot of stuff.
And it's not my car. And it's not my stuff.
Yeah. Alright, so I can't. It says, I can't read it. It says, I think, I don't have my glasses on. 14.2 volts. See if this sits down in there. Yes, plenty of clearance. No problem.
Way cool.
So that's good. Alright, so that part's working. Alright, this is this thing. This is the LED thing. And this one has, just like the other one, it has on-off buttons. So that's on right now. See, that's on.
Yep.
And now that's on.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
Right, that was important because of the little fancy decorative lighting.
And this also has this, which I don't know what that's for. Where does this cable go? And we know where
that's maybe the cable for the back seat for Johnny. I don't know. We know what's the braided one is.
Oh, it's just caught.
We'll figure it out. The dash cam? No, that's up at the
top. It probably is the dash cam.
Yeah, that's I think it's the dash cam, Donnie.
Right, now that's the dash cam.
That was months ago. Why would we want to remember that?
Right, that was a long time ago. And then I got to get my Sweetie's Type C cable. I've got to get me that Type A to Type C, so that you can plug your cable in. So we need to just line this up so we don't get you frustrated. My cable's not charging. I'll fix that because it's got a thing, but it didn't have a Type C. Alright, so now I don't remember where this cable went. I need to get this all put back together.
Okay, well we see it's going to work.
There's not enough hours in the day, folks. Let me tell you, working for is a drag. I highly recommend people just stop. I like that great retirement. What was it?
Resignation.
The great resignation.
For you at any point.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for it because I'm ready to resign. Too much work.
Yeah, you can see the wind. Don's shirt's moving. The pampas grass up here is moving. The microphone is loud, I'm sure. Sustained wind's not too bad, but there's some gusts come by. So I think we've made the right decision today. It's not as crowded for a holiday Saturday as I would have thought, especially when it's 70 degrees out here. But there's a few people enjoying the park. A kid on ball field 2 here practicing soccer into a goal, and a family or a team on ball field 1 practicing some baseball, softball hitting practice.
Here she comes. This is her second lap. All the way around twice. No stopping. Come on, girl, kick it out. Come on, kick, 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 kick. There you go. Woo, woo, woo. There she is. That's 6.
Yeah, 6/10.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That last kick put me over 170.
Yeah. Well, I was 140. I had to hustle up and catch her.
Hustle up to get in front of me. Thank you, Donnie.
You're welcome.
First day of the year.
Yeah.
Longest run yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good 2022. I'm determined. Miss Cup always half full.
Yeah, that's right. A little Miss Energizer.
Bunny, yeah.
Yeah. She made me go extra today.
So he didn't run home. Well, he's going to go home and be up and down the stairs to the attic. I'm lucky he came out with me at all.
Really? 6,606 steps. 6,606 steps. 56 minutes, 58 seconds. So almost 57 minutes. 3.15 miles. 284 calories. 1805 per mile.
Right. See the difference? Mine's not over 19 per mile. And our time is the same, but I had 2.89 miles and he's just over 3. And that's what makes the mile, the rate, the pace a little bit different. And I have no idea which one is accurate and which one's not. And this is the Google thing, not just the...
Well, this one only gave me 4,709
Yeah, that halo is
day.
really cutting Don short on steps.
Yes, it's worse than the apple.
It's really short. It's short by over 1,000, 1,500
Hey,
something.
Marty, I don't have any cat pictures yet today. You gonna come see me?
Hi, good boy. I let these inflatables down over here because of the wind. He's a good boy. Uh-oh, some doggies over there don't sound happy. Well, there's Tux and I see Stripe. I'm sure Gray and Panther aren't involved in that noise. I don't know where Morris is, but that's not his... The direction it's coming from is not his normal rounds.
Hey, Tux. Hi.
So I'm under here, in the crawl space where we've got Marianne's plant set. You can hear the heat pump water heater running, and this is the energy meter. I know it's hard to read. I'll try to. I don't know if you can read it or not. There it is. So it's running right now. It's pulling 597 watts. I just reset it, so it's pulling just a little over 3 amps, and it's used 21 watts. I just reset it. So for the first kilowatt, for the first 999 watts, or first kilowatt, it reads in watt hours, and then it switches to, it puts a little K in front of the W and does kilowatt hours. Same energy meter I have on Jules and Ruby in the garage. They work well. It uses a little current transformer. I'd say it's reasonably accurate based on very careful measurements with Ruby. I have never tried to make sure this one was as accurate as the one as Ruby, but this one, the one with Ruby, I put on a honest to God, a real kilowatt hour meter like you have on the side of your house. I got one of those from eBay that was certified, and checked it, and that little meter was within like 1% of that one, so it's not too far off. Well, there it is. So I'm not exactly thrilled with it. The cables are really stiff. and there's no bend in them, so this is about the best I could get it positioned. And of course it's 3 bars, which I guess is going to be okay. We'll find out. It's really hard to say. That's my little 1 gig switch, and this is the H4 router, and this is the whatchamacallit, the gateway 5G. I did run an Ethernet cable since I pulled up the floor. I want a Cat 6 cable up that way, 50 foot, runs over there to the window. So worst case scenario, who knows, if I have to put it back, we can use that 50 foot cable there instead of the 100 foot cable that runs across the house. So I'm covered either way.